Today on Retiring Well with Centennial Wealth Advisory, we'll talk about income planning. How do you transition from growth and accumulation to preservation and income?
How do you structure a portfolio so that it generates sufficient income? Okay, that's a big issue. It's not about growth anymore. Now it's about income.
We'll show with a real-life example how you can structure your retirement savings in order to provide predictable and sustainable lifetime income.
How do you build a portfolio using the concept of cash and hope, total return? You want to build a portfolio where you have enough cash coming in to handle the income.
All this and more on Retiring Well with Centennial Wealth Advisory, starting right now.
Retiring Well with Centennial Wealth Advisory, helping you make smart decisions with your money so you can live a better life. Today is the day you can take back control of your money. Retiring Well with Centennial Wealth Advisory, where we believe your best is yet to come.
Welcome to Retiring Well. I'm your host, Michael Reese. We've got a great show lined up for you this week. We are talking about income planning. In fact, I'm going to share with you a real world example of someone that came, they're watching the show just like you are. They came to visit with us in the office, just retiring, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the planning we did for them to help them secure their income for their retirement. This is really important stuff. You want to make sure you pay attention. All right, before I do that, like I do every week, I want to take a quick moment and share with you why we do this show. You see, I deeply believe that your best is yet to come. The second half of life is going to be fantastic. This is the time of your life where you get to pursue activities that provide meaning in life. The types of activities that are fulfilling. And it could be a lot of things. Maybe you want to spend time with the grandchildren. Maybe you want to volunteer. Maybe you want to travel. Whatever it is, it's a fantastic time. But of course, it's only a fantastic time if you make good choices, good smart choices with your money, because your money's got to support all of those activities. And when you look in the landscape, almost all of the financial media, they don't talk about protecting assets and making them last. They talk about how do you grow? Which stock should you buy this week or today? What's the hot stock? What's the hot sector? Never seem to talk about what you should sell, of course. But what should you buy? How do you grow? How do you accumulate? Well, guess what? That's great. That gets you to where you are. But the problem is, if you keep doing that type of activity during the second half of your life, you're going to get in trouble when bad markets come. You need different strategies to protect what you've worked so hard to build. And that's what this show is all about. All right, there are 5 areas of retirement planning. Okay, we talk about this a lot. 5 areas of retirement planning. You need to have an investment plan, you need to have an income plan, you need to have a tax plan, you need to have a health care plan, and you need to have an estate plan. If you're missing out on one of those 5 areas, it could collapse all the rest. You've got to have them all covered. Unfortunately, most financial people, what do they worry about? The investments only? Who cares about the rest? Because that's where they get paid. Well, I got to tell you something. That's not good enough. You deserve better than that. You deserve to be working with someone who covers all 5 areas. If your advisor isn't actively bringing up those 5 areas to you, guess what? You don't have a retirement advisor. They are busy worrying about themselves. So today we're going to talk about the second one, income. That's what we want to talk about this week. And I'm going to use a real world example to illustrate how you need to think about your income planning. So Jim and Kelly, last name withheld, Jim and Kelly, very nice couple. They came into the office. They were watching the show. They called, say, hey, I want to come and visit with you guys. Jim had just retired from IBM. And he worked there for like 20 some years. And he had about $800,000 saved in his 401k. And this was, they had money in cash and that type of stuff, but this is basically their retirement money. All 401k, we see that pretty frequently. Their goal, they said, look, we just want $6,000 a month to live on. $72,000 a year. That's what we need to be comfortable. All right, and you do the math, you think, well, gosh, $72,000 a year on 800 grand? That's 9% income. I don't know if that's really realistic. Well, if that were the whole story, no, it's not realistic. But that's not the whole story, because they wanted $6,000 a month, but their Social Security accounted for about half of that, about $3,000. So really, from their $800,000 that he saved, they only needed $3,000 a month, not the whole six. So here we go. We need $6,000. Social Security was $3,000 of it. That means the other $3,000 needed to come from their retirement accounts, their 401k. In this case, it was Jim's. Now, the question comes into play. How do you structure a portfolio? How do you invest that $800,000 so that it generates sufficient income? Okay, that's a big issue. It's not about growth anymore. Now it's about income. So I don't want you going anywhere, because coming up after the break, I'm going to share with you how you do that. All right, folks, I want you to pay attention to me right now. I have a very special offer. If you're one of the first 10 people to call, and our number right here, 512-265-5000. If you're one of the first 10 people to call and you've saved at least $250,000 for your retirement, we will provide for you at no charge, no obligation, your own personalized retirement roadmap. In this roadmap, we help you take a look at where you stand currently with the risks that you're taking with your portfolio, the fees. What are you paying your advisors, both the fees you see and the fees you don't see? What about a retirement income stress test? Will your money last? We also run a tax analysis, a Social Security analysis. This is something you absolutely want. It tells you exactly where you stand with your retirement planning. It's absolutely free, no obligation, but you must be one of the first 10 people to call at 512-265-5000. Call now.
Essential financial strategies for a comfortable retirement. Join the Centennial Wealth Advisory team for an informative and exciting presentation with complimentary gourmet dinner, and learn how to protect your assets from market volatility, how to plan your retirement, the best ways to generate lifetime income, how to safeguard your assets from unnecessary taxation, the difference between retirement advisors and Wall Street advisors, why getting a second opinion may be your most important financial decision, and much more. Choose the date and location that works best for you. Tuesday, August 9th or Thursday, August 11th at 4 Restaurant in Lakeway. Tuesday, August 16th or Wednesday, August 17th at Trulux in the Arboretum. Presentations start at 6:30 p.m. and are free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow. But seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 512-265-5000 or visit send-wealth.com/events to reserve your seats today. There is no cost and no obligation. Don't miss this important presentation, Essential Financial Strategies for a Comfortable Retirement. Call 512-265-5000 today.
This week we're talking about Jim and Kelly, and you might recall in our last segment we mentioned that Jim and Kelly, they've got about $800,000 in their overall portfolio, and they need that portfolio to generate about $3,000 a month of income, which is the equivalent of $36K. Now, if we do the math, what that tells us is we need about 4.5%. That's a 4.5% income or distribution rate. All right, so they need about 4.5% on their portfolio. I'm going to share with you that that's getting up there in today's market environments. If you need much more than that, you probably don't want to retire. But it is doable yet. We still could do something like that. Nevertheless, when it comes to how this all works out, this is an equation that you absolutely want to understand. You want to know how it works for you. And here it is. Your total return equals your yield and plus or minus gains or losses. So what is yield? Yield, let's use a different color here. Yield represents your dividends and interest. So yield is dividends and interest. Well, that's simple enough. We know that you can, in a portfolio, get dividends and interest, and basically that's income that is paid to you from the investments that you hold. And then over here, we're going to have plus or minus gains or losses. Whatever you're invested in, well, what is it going to be worth next year? It may be worth more. Congratulations, that's a gain. It may be worth less. Oh, bad news, that's a loss. So your total return is a combination of these two factors, the interest and dividends and interest and the gains and losses. Now, I have a different phrase for this that I like to use. This is cash. Okay, that right there is cash. And gains and losses, that's hope. Cash means it's coming in every single year. You can spend cash. Here, this is hope. You're hoping your accounts go up in value. We don't know that's going to be the case. Now, the investment philosophy that we utilize is very simple. Whenever we're looking at a total return on a portfolio, we want the cash to be enough to satisfy the ongoing income need, at least as best we can. And I'm going to share with you why. When Jim and Kelly first came in and we analyzed their portfolio, here's what we learned. We learned on their $800,000 that their current dividend yield, the dividends and interest, their current yield on their portfolio was only 1.8%. Now let's think about that for a minute. 1.8%. How much cash was coming in on their portfolio? 1.8% on $800,000. Well, if you do the math, that's only about $15,000, give or take. But how much do they need? They need $36,000. So if markets are up, where do they get the rest of where do they get the other $21,000? Well, if markets are up, it's not a problem. They're just going to sell some of their positions and take some gains. Nobody ever went broke taking gains, right? That's a good thing to have happen. But what if markets are down? What if it's the early 2000s? .com crash, 9/11, you all remember that. What if it's 2008? Markets are down, and I promise you, markets will be down in the future. They'll be up and they'll be down. Well, if they're down, what's going to happen? They've got to sell assets at a loss. Those are assets that are now gone, that there's no ability to recover. So what we want to do in a portfolio, this creates a problem. We don't like this. We want to make sure we're structuring our portfolio where the yield, the cash, is satisfying our income needs. All right, folks, I want you to pay attention to me right now. I have a very special offer. If you're one of the first 10 people to call, and our number right here, 512-265-5000. If you're one of the first 10 people to call and you've saved at least $250,000 for your retirement, we will provide for you at no charge, no obligation, your own personalized retirement roadmap. In this roadmap, we help you take a look at where you stand currently with the risks that you're taking with your portfolio, the fees. What are you paying your advisors, both the fees you see and the fees you don't see? What about a retirement income stress test? Will your money last? We also run a tax analysis, a Social Security analysis. This is something you absolutely want. It tells you exactly where you stand with your retirement planning. It's absolutely free, no obligation, but you must be one of the first 10 people to call at 512-265-5000. Call now.
Essential financial strategies for a comfortable retirement. Join the Centennial Wealth Advisory team for an informative and exciting presentation with complimentary gourmet dinner and learn how to protect your assets from market volatility. How to plan your retirement, the best ways to generate lifetime income, how to safeguard your assets from unnecessary taxation, the difference between retirement advisors and Wall Street advisors, why getting a second opinion may be your most important financial decision, and much more. Choose the date and location that works best for you. Tuesday, August 9th or Thursday, August 11th at 4 Restaurant in Lakeway. Tuesday, August 16th or Wednesday, August 17th at Trulux in the Arboretum. Presentations start at 6:30 p.m. and are free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow. But seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 512-265-5000 or visit send-wealth.com/events to reserve your seats today. There is no cost and no obligation. Don't miss this important presentation, Essential Financial Strategies for a Comfortable Retirement. Call 512-265-5000 today. Your grandchildren are precious to you. They are your life. This is your time to have that special relationship. Taking care of yourself is taking care of them. Centennial Wealth Advisory is offering a free, no-obligation retirement review to make sure you don't run out of money during your retirement. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Your best is yet to come.
Welcome back. So this week we're talking about Jim and Kelly, a real world couple. They came to our office watching the TV show just like you are right now. They called up and said, hey, want to talk to you guys. And remember, 5 areas of retirement planning: investment, income, tax, healthcare, and estate. And in their particular case, income was a real big thing for them. He just retired at IBM. And in our last segment, I shared with you how do you build a portfolio using the concept of cash and hope, total return. You want to build a portfolio where you have enough cash coming in to handle the income. Well, here's the thing. In today's interest rate environment, we saw in our last segment that, Jim and Kelly, they need 4.5% cash flow on their portfolio. Well, let me ask you something. Could they go out to the bank and buy a CD today, a 5-year CD, paying them 4.5%? Could they do that? No way. You can't find that at the bank. Can they go find a stock with a 4.5% dividend? Well, that's a pretty risky approach to take. Could they go find a bond paying a 4.5% interest rate? No, not there either. So putting together a portfolio with a 4.5% overall cash flow, not the simplest thing in the world, but it can be done. In their particular case, and by the way, if you find yourself in a position where your cash flow is more than 3%, so if you need your portfolio to deliver more than 3% cash flow, we would typically encourage you to at least consider using some type of income annuity in the mix. Now, the reason for that, and by the way, Banks and I are going to talk a little bit about annuities in the last segment today. But if you utilize annuities, the reason we utilize annuities at times is because they deliver income at a higher interest rate than pretty much anything else out there. Now, if your income need is less than 3%, you can easily avoid using annuities if you don't like them. Some people don't like annuities, although I do find that they're becoming more accepted over time. But nevertheless, if you don't like annuities and your income needs are less than 3%, you can certainly build a portfolio, even in today's interest rate environment, to deliver that type of cash flow. But if you're north of 3%, like in the case of Jim and Kelly here, including them in the mix can often make sense. So in their particular situation, what we ended up doing was pretty simple. Remember, he had $800,000, right, total. In their case, They told us, they said, we would really like to, at a minimum, guarantee of that $6,000 a month. If we had $5,000 a month coming in guaranteed, that would be fantastic. So that means that we need $2,000 guaranteed for life. So we went out and simply shopped the insurance company market, and we found, who can we give, who will provide that $2,000 a month for the rest of their lives at the absolute lowest price. So we shopped all the companies, compared them against each other, got the cheapest one. And in this case, it took about $400,000. It took about half of their portfolio. So they took half and they put it into something like that. The other half they put into a diversified mix of, of stocks, bonds, ETFs, that type of thing, that generated the other $1,000 a month cash flow. So it was really cool. By using the annuities, the annuities captured 5%, this captured the rest. What happened there as a result was we had a nice balanced mix. They've got $5,000 a month between their Social Security and the annuities coming in no matter what. We've got the portfolio generating the other $1,000 a month of cash flow, and that works out well. But here's the thing. Here's the one thing you got to remember. The $1,000 a month coming from the portfolio, that's not guaranteed. I mean, if markets tank like they did in 2008, that could go down, right? That could be reduced. In their case, they said we can live with that. We need the $5,000 for our base level of income. The other $1,000 a month, that's just spending money. That's fun money. So that's what worked out for them. Here's my question though. What about you? What's your income plan? How does it work with your investment plan, your healthcare plan, tax plan, estate plan? What's your planning? You need to know. All right, folks, I want you to pay attention to me right now. I have a very special offer. If you are one of the first 10 people to call, and our number right here, 512-265-5000. If you're one of the first 10 people to call and you've saved at least $250,000 for your retirement, we will provide for you at no charge, no obligation, your own personalized retirement roadmap. In this roadmap, we help you take a look at where you stand currently with the risks that you're taking with your portfolio, the fees. What are you paying your advisors, both the fees you see and the fees you don't see? What about a retirement income stress test? Will your money last? We also run a tax analysis, a Social Security analysis. This is something you absolutely want. It tells you exactly where you stand with your retirement planning. It's absolutely free, no obligation, but you must be one of the first 10 people to call at 512-265-5000. Call now. All right, welcome back. We are now at the stage of the show where we ask banks a question. And, well, you can see she is definitely getting bigger. She's a good puppy, 4 months old now. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if she's ever going to stop growing. She's going to be like, was that Clifford the Big Red Dog by the time she's done, I think. Anyway, this week we are talking about income. And the question that we're going to ask banks has to do with annuities. So banks, here's the question. Okay, pay attention. She doesn't ever like to pay attention, does she? Banks, listen. Here's the question. Are annuities good? That's what we got. Are annuities good or bad? Well, I'll tell you what. This is something that I think I'll go ahead and answer for. As I'm a certified financial planner, and I've got 20 years experience in the industry, helping people with their retirement planning. And my perspective of annuities is pretty much the exact same as my perspective on stocks or bonds or, exchange traded funds. I don't see any financial tool as being, good or bad. Maybe variable annuities today would fall into the category of bad, but other than that, pretty much every investment tool or financial tool, it's not that it's good or bad, it's just a tool. Is a hammer good or bad? Is a screwdriver good or bad? No, it's simply, are you using the tool for the reason it's designed? That's what you really want to ask. So are annuities good or bad? My answer is it depends on how you use them. So annuities, what are they designed to do? What are they for? Generally speaking, it's one of two things. Either A, you're using annuities for income. So they're built to provide lifetime income, making sure your money lasts as long as you do, right? That's one reason that annuities are created. That is a purpose for that tool. So if you're saying, I want to buy a pension, I want to have income that lasts for as long as I live, then an annuity is a good tool for that use. Now, the second reason annuities are created, particularly in the fixed indexed annuity space, is to provide a safe place for money where you can earn a better interest rate than other safe places. So for example, in today's environment, if we go get a CD at a bank, we might make 1 or 1.5%. If I go to get a 10-year government bond, I might get 1.7 to 1.8%. Well, I could put money in a 10-year annuity and have my principal insured and safe. And if I pick the right annuity, I might earn 4 or 5%. So the second reason for annuity is simply this. I want a safe place for my money where I can earn a better interest rate than other safe places. So if that's your goal, yeah, an annuity could be good. Now, where's annuity not so good? What if you're using an annuity as a replacement for the stock market? In other words, a replacement for growth. Not so good then, because it's not intended for that purpose. That's not what it's built to do. Just like a stock is built for growth, it's not built for income. I know a lot of people, maybe you sit there and you have stocks and you depend on the dividends for income. That's fine, but you can't count on it for consistent income because when markets go south, dividends get decreased. It happens all the time. So that's not what they're built to do. An annuity is not built to be a stock market replacement. It's not built to be a growth type of investment. It's built for either A, income, or B, a safe place where you can get a decent return. So is an annuity good or bad? If you use it for the reason it was designed, it can be good. If you use it for a reason that it was not designed, not so good. And that holds true for any type of financial tool, whether it's a stock, a bond, a mutual fund, an exchange-traded fund, a limited partnership, etc. So there you go. That's our answer this week. Banks, I think you did a pretty good job there, puppy. Well done.